Attention all Echo Base defenders. Today we'll be painting Rebel veterans for Star Wars Legion. So get to the transport ships and let's do some hobby. So we have here the Echo Base Defenders box for Star Wars Legion. There's a bunch of models inside. We are interested in the Rebel veterans today. They come in little baggies and with all plastic miniatures. They have a mod line, so we're just going to go around each of the models and scrape off the mold line. It is a tedious process, but your models will look a lot better once you do this step. So you just go all the way around, the mod line will run all the way around, and for some of these Star Wars Legion models, there seem to be multiple mold lines for some pieces. So once that's done, we're just going to take some super glue and glue all the parts together. The arms and legs have a nice little slot and tab setup that everything fits into pretty snugly. This plastic is a little bit soft, so you can kind of bend it a little bit to get it into the place where you need, and it will just go back into its original position. It's pretty hard to break these pieces, so I'm just going to put the head on here, and then we've also got some of these models have backpacks that will go onto their backs. There will also be some of the guys who have special weapons, their guns will go on their backs as well. So there's 6 different models in the veteran squad. Now we're also going to make the support gun. So he's got a bunch of little pieces, the trooper himself, and then the support gun has a lot of little pieces. We're going to go and scrape the mold lines off all of those too. So the gun itself, the tripod, and the power pack battery generator thing. And then we're just going to glue all of those together with super glue as well. These parts are quite thin, so just be careful when you're handling these, otherwise you may accidentally break something. So as you're gluing the parts together, I just take steps to place it all on a flat surface just to make sure it's all sitting flat together. And then once you get to the gun part, you want to grab the trooper and make sure that everything fits together and he's also sitting flat on the ground. Then you can attach his arm, and as I said, this soft plastic, you can move it around a little bit and make sure you clean up the plastic shavings afterwards. Next, I'm going to drill a hole in one of the model's feet and attach it to my painting rig. This is just a little setup with paper clips and wooden dowel to make it easier to handle the models when I'm painting them, and also lets me spray them. So I'm going to spray them in Wraithbone. Then once that's dry, the first paint I'm going to use is Garagax Sewer. So I'm going to use that to paint their pants. So just go around and make sure that you get a good coverage everywhere, including between the legs. I'm also going to paint their hats with this color as well. And I think I might paint their gloves with this color too. So just make sure you get the contrast into all the little crevices there. Next up, I'm going to use Wraithbone to clean up some of the overspill that I had from the pants. We'll use that a fair bit. Next is Creed Camo. So I'm going to use this as the main camouflage color. So I'm going to paint his little mud guards on his legs, some of their knee pads, and some of their jackets in this color, leaving some for the next step. Might also paint the sides of their hats in this. So next up, to add a bit of variety, I'm going to use a different green, so Dark Angels green this time. So some of the parts of their fatigues that I did not paint in Creed Camo, like some of the undershirts, I will now paint in the darker green, Dark Angels green. Make sure you get in between his collar there. This guy, I painted his undershirt in Creed Camo, so I'm going to do his flak jacket in the Dark Angels green, and some of the guys I left their knee pads, so I'm going to do those in the darker green. And to further mix things up, I'm going to use a lighter green, Militarum green. So a couple of the bits that I have not covered in the other two greens, I'm going to do in this. Then some snakebite leather for a couple of their flak jackets that I have not painted in either of the other colours. I'm also going to use the snakebite leather on some of the straps holding their mud guards and some of their bands for their goggles too. Now another brown, Cygor brown. So this is a darker brown, and I'm going to paint some of their backpacks and some of their belts in this brown color. You can really go overboard and try to get many different browns and blacks onto their little pouches. I just want some variety, so some I will do brown and the other ones I will do in black Templar, just to make them look kind of random, not too uniform. So I'm also going to use the Black Templar to paint all of their boots. And continuing over the miniature, I use it also to undercoat anything that I'm going to later paint silver, like these little grenades I think they are. And I'm going to do their guns as well. One more thing I'm going to do in the black is the rims of their goggles. And then I'm also going to take the support gun and paint all of that black except for maybe the little hose that connects the gun to the generator. So just get all around the miniature, and you can see the contrast gives its own shading and highlighting, which is pretty nice. Next I will take some lead belcher and I'll paint some little details on his gun so it's not just all flat black. So some parts of the barrel, the clip, just little bits and pieces, little bits of their doodads, maybe the belt buckles, some of the grenades, just little parts to give a little pop of colour so everything's not just black. Also going to paint some of the details on the gun as well, just to make it so it's not just all one monotonous black colour. Then I'm going to take some Nuln oil and I'm just going to cover all of those silver parts, give it nice shading and dull it down a bit. Next I'm going to use Flesh Tearers Red for their goggles, so just put a nice thick coat in there and it will make it look like they are some kind of night vision goggles. And the next I'll go back to snakebite leather and I'll paint the hose for the support gun. Now for their skin, I'm just going to use a variety of different skin tones in contrast. So Guilliman flesh, Fyreslayer flesh, there's a bunch of different skin tones. You just want to put this on nice and heavy so the contrast flows into the crevices of their face and draws away from the large flat areas to give a nice effect. You can use some dark browns for some of the dark skin troopers, and then this alien dude, I'm actually using a mixture of washes for his skin. So I think this is Seraphim Sepia, and I'll put some other washes on him. So just go around and just paint their faces. Most of these guys are covered in clothes because they are supposed to be winter soldiers, so there's not too much flesh that you need to paint. Next I'm going to do their little insignias, so start off with Apothecary White, and then I'm going to use Talissar Blue and Blood Angels Red, and I'm just going to paint in some of the little parts of that insignia rank. I'm not sure if they actually mean anything, but I'm just going to put random colour, white, red and blue dots. Next I have Basilicum Grey to paint the leader's mustache, and you can use a couple of different colours for any of the guys who have beards or hair showing. Next I'm going to go back to Black Templar because I forgot these little things on their gloves. I don't know what they are, but I'm going to paint them in Black Templar. And then sticking with the Black Templar, I'm going to switch to a small brush to start painting their eyes. This alien is easy because apparently their eyes are just solid black. So I just let the contrast run into his whole eye. But for the other models, it's a bit trickier. I do not claim to be any kind of expert at painting eyes, but what I do is I just try to paint a line first in the eye to shade it all black. I try to put myself in a position where I can draw straight lines through. Then I use some white and I paint a smaller line inside that line so there is some edge around the white line. So just be very careful and just try to get yourself into a comfortable position so you can just draw the brush across, and then I'd try to put a little dot into the middle of that white line for their pupils. It's a bit of trial and error, and you might have to clean some up, but it can look okay. Lastly, I'm going to take some dried bark and I'm just going to stipple some around their legs and bottom areas to represent mud, and then I will glue the support gun onto the trooper, so just a little bit of super glue and stick him in like that. Then I can varnish the models and attach them to their bases. I made another video showcasing these bases, and then we're done with this Rebel Veterans squad. So hopefully you found this tutorial useful, and I wish you luck in your battles against the evil Galactic Empire.